So the NT election just a couple of weeks away now. How do you see this shaking down?
Well, Peter, it's an extremely important decision for the Territory, but also for our entire nation. I am so passionate about the development of the North, was the Northern Australian Minister, and the real future of this country is up here in terms of the opportunity, job growth, the industry. The stake of something called the Beetaloo Basin is at odds here. The Beetaloo Basin is a massive gas reserve. It's got as much oil and gas in it as in the Permian Basin in Texas, which has driven America's manufacturing renaissance. And manufacturing's become sexy again. I want to see manufacturing industry grow in this country, but that won't happen if we don't develop the energy resources of this place. And there's a minor party running around here wanting to ban the development of the Beetaloo Basin, but the Country Liberal Party up here has been behind that development, behind jobs, and I want to see a strong manufacturing industry in Australia. Well,
could Beetaloo gas be the Territory's saver through COVID-19?
Well, it's certainly the future hope for the Territory. The Territory up here has been doing it tough for a number of years. It was in a weak state even before COVID-19. A big gas project finished a few years ago, and at the time the Labor government here had a moratorium on other gas developments, and so there was nothing on the horizon, and the business confidence in this place unfortunately went into a bit of a valley. It's got so much opportunity though. Just don't want to see it choked off again after this election, because, as I say, as a whole country, we need the Territory to be strong. We need to develop these types of resources. I think we've got a great future as a country to develop a strong manufacturing industry again, but we won't do that unless we drill for gas, mine coal, use our energy resources, not just ship it overseas.
Well, with that excess gas, could that be piped to the eastern parts of Australia, which may well suffer shortfalls in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. There's just last year, I was at the opening ceremony for a historic event where the Mount Isa Tennant Creek gas pipeline was opened. So it was the first time that the Northern Territory had been hooked up with the East Coast. So you can send gas now. Physically, you can send it from here in Darwin all the way down to Melbourne. That, of course, doesn't happen often, but it is all important. It goes in the mix. That pipeline is relatively small at the moment, but if something like this Beetaloo Basin was to be as productive as we think, certainly I'd imagine, and people have got plans to expand that pipeline, and it could be the saviour of the whole country, because you probably recall, before all this other stuff, we did have shortfalls of gas in the East Coast. There is still a looming shortage as the Bass Strait declines, and it's important we develop other oil and gas basins in this country. It's not just the gas too. We're no longer self-sufficient in oil. We used to be, as recent as 20 years ago. We produced enough raw petroleum for all our needs. Today, we've got less than half produced of our needs here in Australia. So there's potentially oil here as well, and that's important for defence and strategic reasons for this country as well.
Just on to a few other matters, Senator. The US wants us to step up against China, which I think we've clearly done in recent weeks and months. But on top of rejecting China's claims in the South China Sea, it wants us to sail within 12 nautical miles of those disputed areas. Is that something you'd like us to do?
Well, look, I'd like to see us uphold the rule of law and do whatever we can to ensure the rule of law is upheld. I welcome the announcement we made this week, although it's not a material change from the position we've had, which has been that we'd like to see all countries, including China, recognise decisions from the International Court of Arbitration. That court has ruled on China's claims, but their claims, as my understanding, China has not agreed to adhere to. So that's what we'd like to see. Now, if such operations with the US and other friendly countries can help further the cause of seeing illegal navigation rights defended across the world, well, I'd fully support that. And I'm sure that will be discussed in these very important meetings with Minister Payne and Minister Reynolds.
Yeah, I mean, is there a risk, though, that it inflames tensions?
Well, those things have got to be balanced, but I think the government has done a terrific job here of defending and maintaining our rights as a sovereign country. As I said before, the positions the Australian government has taken in the last few months have not been some kind of shock. It's not been a fundamental change to the position we've had in regards to issues like the South China Sea, but also in regards to issues like telecommunications, issues like having transparency and in health crises that we've seen. These are not surprising decisions to be made from an Australian government. And what we need to do is just make sure we respectfully put forward our own position. I'd love to see us continue to do business and trade with the Chinese people, but ultimately it's up to the Chinese government about how they decide to interact with the rest of the world.
Senator, there's a Black Lives Matter protest that is continuing today in Sydney despite a court order. What's your view of that, of the people who despite the reasons that they're protesting are continuing to do it despite the pandemic that's well and truly still in effect?
Well, I wish they could look north up here to Darwin. I wish they could, the whole country could probably take a leaf out of what's occurring up here because, and I'm not saying it's just management here, but because of good luck, good timing, good location, Northern Territory doesn't have any cases and life is going on as normal, and I'm sure all Australians would like to return to that as soon as possible. But it's events like this that could potentially delay a return to normality. And those minority, a very small minority in our community who are seeking to interfere with the potential resumption of normal activities, normal business in this country, doing a great disservice to the whole nation, and they should be widely condemned. I hope that the New South Wales government follows through, the New South Wales police follow through with their threats to fine all of these people. If they're breaking the law, they should be fined. The full weight of the law should be brought down against these few idiots who are putting it all at risk, not just from a health perspective, but also from our economic health and the quickness with which we can return to that as well.
Yeah. Hey, just finally, Senator Clive Palmer, he's preparing an advertising blitz in Queensland in the lead up to the election. Are you expecting the UAP to contest the election?
Look, I don't know. It's a matter for Clive. What I do know is that Queensland's in a similar sort of economic hole like we've been up here in the Territory, because we've had a Labor government in Queensland just like here who have racked up debt, who haven't progressed major job-creating projects, and we need a change. Now, I think the best change would be go to Deb Frecklington to the LNP, who are going to build water infrastructure, going to get behind the development of the Galilee Basin, going to have a sensible energy policy, going to remove green tape. That's what we need for Queensland and right across the north. And whether or not Clive stands, I don't think he's going to be in a position to form government. So the real deal here is who should be in government and who should get us out of this economic hole that's been created by this health pandemic.